The truck that started an industry. Shunt truck, spotter truck, spotting tractor, yard truck, yard shifter, yard dog, yard goat, yard horse, hostler, or yard mule. That sounds like the start to a country song. But really, it is the names a type of specialized semi-tractors are called. These trucks are intended to move semi-trailers within a cargo yard, warehouse facility, or intermodal facility. A switcher locomotive is used on the railroads to position railcars. From steam to diesel, switcher engines have been used to make up trains long before the trucking industry started to use the yard mule. Before the yard mule was invented, regular truck tractors were used to move trailers around truck lots. Imagine moving a trailer to and from a loading dock with a conventional truck. The drivers of over-the-road trucks did, and they still do today, but the yard birds that spotted trailers had to use COE and conventional trucks to move trailers around the truck docks. In a small town in Kansas, Ottawa, Kansas to be exact, some 60 years ago, a truck was invented that invented an industry. Today, the concept of the yard truck is taken for granted, but back then it was considered revolutionary. A short wheelbase truck with a hydraulically operated fifth wheel. A truck designed specifically to move trailers around a truck lot. Ottawa Steel Products was started 15 years earlier by 6 local families to begin building and repairing construction equipment, hydraulic and cable cranes, making shovel attachments for tractors, and more. But little did they know that their company would become one of the largest cargo handling manufacturers and develop a worldwide market for their yard truck. Ottawa's general manager, Harry Hal Lowther, began a program to expand the line of products produced at Ottawa Steel Products. Harry was credited with having the initial concept for a new kind of tractor, a vehicle that could speed up the process of moving trailers by the ingenious use of a hydraulic fifth wheel. Harry said, "We need to build trucks here for yard terminals." Yard terminals need to move the trailers without having to hook up to the regular trucks. In 1958, Ottawa Steel Products introduces the terminal tractor to the world. Ottawa named it the Yard Hustler. The new design saved time and effort by employing a hydraulically lifted fifth wheel instead of using a hand crank on the trailer's landing gear. In the early days, the hydraulic fifth wheel lifted the trailer, so it became no longer necessary to use the hand crank to lift the trailer legs. As a result, increased efficiency in trailer spotting at distribution centers, ports, and rail yards. There are several differences between a terminal tractor and a regular road truck. These differences include a single-person cab offset to the side of the engine, a full-height sliding rear door for easy access to trailer connections, a very short wheelbase, usually with a solidly mounted rear axle, a low-power diesel engine or alternative fuel engine, usually with an automatic transmission, a rear window to create a 360-degree view, a fifth wheel coupling with an integrated lifting mechanism that allows the semi-trailer's legs to remain in the lowered position during movement, and 12-gauge steel sidewall cab construction with half-inch steel floors for protection in abusive and dangerous work environments. There are limited on-road versions that can drive on roads at highway speeds. However, most of the yard trucks have a top speed of 25 miles per hour or less. After all, in a truck yard, the speed limit is generally 25 miles per hour or less. usually less. Ottawa was purchased by their main competitor, Finnish Sisu Terminal Systems, in 1993. In 1997, Sisu and Swedish terminal truck manufacturer Kalmar Industries were both incorporated into the Partech Corporation, and soon after, the Sisu badge was discontinued on their terminal tractors. Ottawa Trucks, now formally known as Kalmar Ottawa. Ottawa Steel Products founders had no idea when they started their company that they were going to build a product that would revolutionize cargo handling. What we have here is two Athearn yard trucks. They are in 1/87 scale and they are all plastic. They come in a blister pack with a hardboard hang card. And these were made several years ago, and I don't know if any of them are still available. Athearn is one of the weirder companies out there to buy models from. But these were incredibly well detailed in 1/87 scale, and they're all plastic. They don't really look it, but they are plastic. Now, these guys are both identical, so what I'm going to do here is talk about the details on the one, and then I'll just pick the other one up and show it around. You can see it has nice 2-hole Bud style wheels, front and rear, duals on the rear axle, single on the front. There is a mud flap behind the front wheel, there's a mud flap behind the rear wheel. There's a ladder to climb up and get in the door on the side, and then there's also a ladder to climb up and get on the gangway. There's a driver's mirror here with the little spotter mirror. There's also the grab bar so you can climb up and get into the cab. Now that's actually a little piece of metal wire. Really nice the way that they put a little bit there. Probably be too hard to make that in plastic. Now the windows are hard clear plastic so you can see inside the cab. There's the door handle, the little vent, marker lights, bumper is there, and it's got the angled striping on it so that you can see this vehicle and promote visibility with it. There's the ladder to climb up onto the platform, and then there's the ladder that would climb up so you can get in this door. Now your more modern, most current ones don't have this driver's door. You just get in through the back door on the back of the cab instead of through this door. But this is a little bit older model. This came out probably about 2012. 11 or 12 is when they came out with these little yard mules. So they were a little older. It also doesn't have the raised roof. It has the flat roof. The fifth wheel pivots, as you can see. And then it also raises and lowers. It is the hydraulically lifted fifth wheel. Now, I'll dig it out here. There we go. See, you can see how it raised up. That's the way they lift the trailer so they don't have to get out and adjust the landing gear and raise the legs up on the landing gear of the trailer. Really convenient that way. Round to the back, and you can see it has both of the pistons that help raise it up. A little hard to see in there, but they're in there, the two pistons that raise the platform. It has a brake light and one backup light. On the back you can see there's that other hand grab rail. There's the back of the cab window, and then there's that big full-size door. That slides over so the driver can walk out easily onto the thing and hitch up his electric and air lines. Really, really convenient for the driver. It saves climbing down, hooking it up, and climbing back up in. He stays all up on there. Now this truck does not have soft rubber tires. It has hard plastic tires. But they have a very nice tread pattern, as you can see. Down to the side over here, and you can see there's its fuel tank, and then there is the big muffler and the exhaust turn back. Most of them don't really have it turned quite that much. It's more of a elbow 45, but that's okay. It's good enough. And maybe the one that they modeled had it. There's a mud flap there and a mud flap back there. The same 2-hole wheels painted white with the hard plastic tires.
There's also the mirror. Now, the muffler is on a stand-up bracket. The mirror is also on a stand-up bracket because it is a offset cab. Now, you can also see that on this side, to make it easier to maneuver, they actually angled this part of the bumper and this part of the sheet metal. Makes cornering just a little bit easier. The driver doesn't have to worry about catching that. But you got to remember, these have really tight and sharp turning radiuses, real sharp, much sharper than any regular truck. So it's easy to hook these things on something. It's also easy to hook the trailer if you're not being careful with them. Round to the front, you can see there's that bracket. I'll turn it a little more this way. You see the bracket holding the exhaust, and then there's the mirror bracket. It's actually a post on these trucks because the cab is way over here. Here is the part of the doghouse that covers up the engine on this side. There's a little bit of it on the other side, which cuts into some of the space in the cab, but they put the controls on top of that panel, so it's not really wasted space inside the cab. And then you have a grill for your radiator, and more grill, turn signals, which would generally be on all flash when they're running in a yard, and then 2 headlights. Now those 2 headlights are actually little individual jewel pieces put in, whereas these turn signals are just amber paint or orange paint. Hard plastic window, and then you can see it's got the windshield wiper there. Now we'll turn them up a little, just a little bit. You can see inside the cab there's a steering wheel, a seat, and there's the controls, the gear shift, and hydraulic levers, brake levers, etc. They did a nice job on the inside of this guy. Now let's tip him underneath. And the detail continues. Spring front suspension, the solid rear axle that's mounted to the frame, which is pretty common. Most of them are that way. Although suspensions are starting to move in, but they did this to increase the ability of the wear and tear. The suspensions just don't hold up on the rear ends. That's why they did this, but it's starting to come in. The differential that goes there, transmission, air tanks, bottom of the engine detail is pretty nice here. You can see the bottom of the steps, battery box, fuel tanks, and air brake canisters. They did a nice job on these trucks. Plus you can see the 4 mud flaps, along with the tread pattern on those tires. Really sharp. Now we'll go up on top, and up top you can see the roof. The grab bar actually is mounted into the roof just like the real ones for this back door. The door would slide behind that grab bar, so you could run with the door open or the door closed. You can see there's the 5th wheel, which is set up with a little straight kingpin for Athearn trailers. Also Classic Metalworks trailers would work well. There's the parts that go up and down, and you can also see there is a diamond plate, deck plate that the driver would walk out on to the trailer, and the diamond catwalk behind the cab. Really nice. I'm going to go back underneath here, show you one more thing. There is the rod that the pistons that raise and lower the 5th wheel are attached, and then there is where the 5th wheel raise and lower mechanism plate is attached to the frame. Really cool. Now we'll set this one aside and pick up the yellow one, just so you can, look all around it. Everything is exactly the same, but it's a nice color change. It's a little different. It was because of the colors. It is yellow, black frame, white wheels, and it's got yellow and black striping on the bumper instead of the yellow and white, which makes sense with the paint scheme. Now we'll go around. All the rest of the details are the same, including the raise and lower 5th wheel, just like the real ones. See it? And it pivots. For all plastic, Athearn made a very nice model. And remember, Athearn made these for model railroads, HO scale railroads, and those guys are not as particular about die-cast. Plastic is very fine with those guys for their rolling, for vehicles and trucks and other things sitting on their layouts. They want their trains to be really nice, but most of their train cars are actually plastic too, and so are the locomotives, so plastic trucks and cars aren't that big a deal for them. Now, I want to show you what these guys look like all hooked up. I got two Athearn trailers here, and I'll have one of them with the fifth wheel down, so you can see what she looks like with the fifth wheel down. And that's how they would back under to hitch it up, with the fifth wheel down. Then they would raise that trailer up and haul away. Then that is a old Montfort trailer that is also an Athearn trailer. It came with a Freightliner COE, but it looks really good behind that yellow yard truck. Now this one here, I got another trailer, a little short trailer, 28-foot pup, and I'll put it with the fifth wheel raised. That way you can see this is the way they would move the trailers around the yard. Once they hitch up to the fifth wheel, up would go maybe it'll stay up. I won't count on that. Trailer may weigh too much. There we go. I'll just be very careful with it because I don't want to fall. And that's the beauty of these trailers. What they do is they can go on, slide under, step out, hook up the air lines and the electric lines to the trailer, and then they can flip a lever, the tractor raises up the trailer off the ground so the legs are no longer touching, and they can move off and haul around without having to climb down and raise the landing gear. That saved so much time for truck drivers moving trailers. And that is the two Athearn yard trucks. I'm not sure whether they're Ottawas or capacities. They kind of look like capacities, but Ottawa look the same, so it doesn't really matter. There's not that much difference in any of the yard trucks that are made over the years. So there we go. That is the 1/87 scale Athearn yard trucks, one in white and one in yellow. And they are hooked up to two different Athearn trailers, one 28-foot for Consolidated Freightways and one 40-foot for Montfort of Colorado.
Yard trucks are indispensable in today's truck and intermodal yards. Just imagine having to climb in and out of a regular truck and raising and lowering the landing gear 100 or more times a day. Ottawa changed that and made the yard dog driver's life easier. What's next for speeding up operations? Down in the description below, I have a link to download a free copy of my free report on scale to make sure that you're buying items that all fit together. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. I'm Logan, the 64th Gear Jammer Skeele, and I'll be back soon with another episode of Toy Talk.